Welcome to The Doc Dudes, your premier podcast for a behind-the-scenes look at the latest in aesthetic medicine. Hosted by the cosmetic surgeons at Graper Harper Cosmetic Surgery in Charlotte, North Carolina, The Doc Dudes brings you interviews with insightful guests, expert tips from experienced medical professionals, and lots of laughs along the way. And now, here's Dr. Garrett Harper and Dr. Robert Graper, also known as The Doc Dudes.
All right, welcome to another episode of The Doc Dudes. That's us.
That is us. We're the dudes.
We're the dudes. Today we've got a really special guest. So you're not only going to have, I would say opinions, but we're really going to basically ask our guest to answer all these questions. But we've got Robert Manzo, Bob Manzo. Legendary. He is a cosmetic chemist, and that is no joke. He really is a chemist. And the founder of just a fantastic company and fantastic skincare line. So,
can we call Bob Dr. Bob?
You can call Bob. That's good. I appreciate
just
it.
Bob
and Garrett.
Isn't that one of the
just Bob? What about Bob?
Minions? In one of the Minions, Bob? I don't know. Maybe. All right. Well, anyways, Robert Manzo is president and CEO of the Skin Atelier Incorporated, Skinprint, and LoftyPet. I got to tell you. Bob, you know my wife? You know which one of your companies she's most excited about, right? I mean, LoftyPet.
She loves that.
Oh, my gosh.
The wiener dog products.
Oh, yeah. He sent a care package to our dogs. Unbelievable. I mean, she's in love with it. Yes, so thank you. So Bob is a chemist who holds 15 international patents in a variety of disciplines, including nanoparticles, skincare personalization, fragrance emission, skincare ingredient discovery, and many more. He's a published author and speaks at industry events and private events, primarily focused on training medical staff on the use of proper skincare, biochemistry, and biomechanical applications used in medical environments. Wow, that was okay. All right.
And that's where I met Bob. Bob, what 20 years ago?
It has to be now, yeah.
We were in Charlotte, and he was at Ballantyne, invited a citywide conference for plastic surgeons and estheticians, and had pretty much a packed house. And he went through skincare like I'd never heard any of the skincare people go through it. What he said had a science background. It wasn't just fluff. And we take care of wrinkles. He told you why we take care of wrinkles. What's the basis for it?
What a wrinkle is.
And what a wrinkle is. And it was just so impressive. And he had a thing there, the Skinprint Company, where he had a machine that measured, Bob, correct me, but like 5 different biometrics.
Yes, exactly.
And it was a skin print, like a fingerprint. It was a skin print. This is your skin and how we measured it. And then he prescribed products from that diagnosis, which, Garrett, that's what we do. We make a diagnosis and prescribe a treatment, whether it's surgical or medical.
You talk about a customized skincare line, absolutely.
Yeah,
insane.
it was way beyond anybody else doing it. The biggies at the time were the Obagi people, and he was way more sophisticated than that. And it's just progressed from there. So, Bob, we're delighted and thrilled to have you as a skincare partner and a participant in this podcast.
I know. We're going to keep this, Bob. We're going to keep this to skin, but I also just will kind of put a shout out. He's also one of the most interesting people I've ever met.
Oh, man.
So maybe we can do a different podcast one time where we don't talk anything about skin. And we just
the fragrance industry in Europe, the military experience.
I love all that. And originally, Skinprint, kind of the company headquarters, was close to where I grew up in New York, near West Point, New York.
Exactly.
But Bob, you are in Las Vegas now.
That's where I am sitting right now.
Man, wow!
At the pool with a Mai Tai, some kind of umbrella drink.
Mostly behind a computer when I'm here. It's unfortunate.
Oh, man. Well, first and foremost, let's go over basic skincare truths. And the truth to skincare, before we get to the myths, are everyone's skin is unique. And so that's what's so interesting, just like a fingerprint. That's why Skinprint's so great and such a great product. Everyone's skin is unique, and treating has to be a unique process. Truth, right?
Absolutely.
Genetics play, if not one of the most important roles in skin aging. You can screw things up with, you'll go over some things, smoking, skin exposure, that kind of stuff. But overall, genetics pretty much dictates our lives, from start to finish.
Yep.
Environmental factors play the second most important role, and we'll have Bob talk a little bit about that. Well, why don't we do it now? I mean, you live in Las Vegas, party town, synonymous with drinking, smoking cigarettes, the sun's out, fun's out, all that kind of stuff.
Chlorine.
Yeah, chlorine in the water. Tell us some things that that can damage patients' skin.
It's a really good question, and it's a broad question. So you guys are some of the best surgeons that I've been associated with. So I thank you for everything you said about me. But one of the reasons I'm on this podcast is because I really respect the work that you do. So thank you for your work, because I've learned a lot from you guys as well. With that said, there's some very key information that patients need to understand. And I'm going to use the phrase healthy skin, because if you have healthy skin, you have good looking skin, right? And so what is healthy skin? There's something called barrier function. It's a critical element of good skin health. And simply what that means is on the top of your skin, what you touch is a membrane. And that membrane regulates how much water comes out of your body and how much toxins and other bad things go into your body. And think of it as a mesh network or an osmotic screen. And once that barrier function degrades, and I got to tell you, we must measure in our clinic 500 different people a month relative to their barrier function. 80% of them have a poor or almost non-existent barrier. And so when you go into the sun, when you're in a smoking environment, when you go into chlorinated water, the more degraded this barrier function of your skin is, the more problems you're going to have, the higher rate of redness, swelling in your skin, stinging. And a lot of people come to me when I'm doing this, and I do probably 100 consults a month individually around the world. And I'll constantly hear the first thing, oh, I'm so red all the time, I must have rosacea. Okay. So they really don't have rosacea. The barrier function in their skin is degraded. And so this particular property is one of the most important things. And when people go into a facility, they can take a look at skin, and because they're experts in it, they can tell if the barriers are affected or not. So many people, they'll go to Sephora, they'll go to their local Macy's, and they'll just say, okay, put this on your skin. So for me, guys, understanding barrier function is the most critical thing. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, so you're basically talking about, and this is one thing that I don't think people take into context. The skin is the largest organ in the body. And what people don't realize is even when you are showering, and we can talk about water quality. We can talk about all sorts of different kind of, I just got done listening to a podcast with Gary Brecka, who certainly has opinions on this kind of stuff. But, what goes through your skin, what you absorb, both toxins, all these things that you're talking about are critically important to our health. And the fact that we absorb so much during a 5 to 10 minute shower, or maybe a 25-minute shower for Dr. Graper, it's
I work harder than you.
It's critical. So I think that people just consider our skin as just, this elastic looking outer shell, and don't realize that it is a living, breathing organ critical to our survival, right? One of those things is, and I'd love, sunlight's not terrible, right? Some degree of sunlight is important to us from
Absolutely.
a vitamin D standpoint, from all,
Absolutely.
So I don't want people to think that they just have to stay out of the sun completely. You just have to be responsible with your sun exposure, not like I was with my wife when we took
I don't want to hear about that nude bathing.
No, it was not nude bathing, but we went down to Mexico for a getaway, and it had been a long winter. And so I was so white that I was green. And I was like, you know what? What's 30 minutes going to do without sunscreen on here? You know what I mean? So
Yep.
I laid out, and it was a problem.
A hot dog.
I got really red. And so then the place had this great like aquatic center where you could go cold plunge, you could get in a sauna, you get in a hot tub, you do all these types of things. And I got in there, and then we had dinner plans, and so I was took my shower there, which was great. And then they got the little, stand there where you can shave, you can do whatever the heck you want in one of these places. And so I'm standing there and
manscaping,
and the attendant walks over, and he's like, because before I got in the shower, he's like, "You want me to have your swim trunks dried?" And I was like, "Well, that'd be amazing." So I handed them to him, and he's like bringing them back literally like on a platter, all dry. And he turns the corner, and he's like, "I'm doing a terrible Mexican accent," but he basically was like, "Oh, Dr. Harper." And then he turns around and he's like, "Oh, you are really red." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." And his eyes got all big. He's like, "Let me go get you some aloe." So he goes and gets me aloe.
Let me go get you a tequila.
Let me go. That's what I need. Well, I didn't. I think I had one of those at the beach, and that's why I didn't put the sunscreen on, unfortunately. All right, so barrier, yes, critically important. Patients need to know that the skin is the largest organ in the body, and a lot of stuff is going both ways. It's going in through the skin, which we want to try to eliminate bad stuff going in, right? Good stuff in, bad stuff out. And then you can also dehydrate yourself and have all sorts of problems going out of the skin. I mean, everybody kind of knows how they feel sometimes when they go into that sauna after maybe a night of being overserved, and you go into the sauna and all of a sudden you kind of sweat it out and feel better getting rid of those toxins. That's a real thing. The skin does that.
Absolutely.
But we're going to jump in, since we've got, Bob, who can answer all these questions way more thoughtfully than Dr. Graper and I can.
With new technology. And we want him to talk about his technology.
Right. So let's talk about myth number one. So Dr. Graper, if you can kind of go over myth number one, and then I'll take myth number two.
All right. Skin should feel soft and smooth after cleansing.
And that would be a myth, right?
Right.
Right. And who knows that better than plastic surgeons? But most women don't know that. So if you did a group of 100, you did a focus group with 100 women, and you say, should the skin be soft and smooth or not? And they all raise their hands, soft and smooth. That's because the marketing in this country says that. So we as chemists have to formulate products which leave a soft and smooth finish. But a properly cleansed face actually feels almost like a plastic surface. It's squeaky clean. Would you agree, guys?
Yeah.
Well, and Bob, I remember you telling me a story a long time ago about what's the product that's got wax in it?
Yeah, Cetaphil.
Cetaphil, where, this person was having a big skincare problem and she couldn't get it right, and she'd go to the dermatologist. And Bob diagnosed the problem, which she used Cetaphil because she liked to have her skin feel so smooth and nice after she used it. And it's because it's full of wax, and it filled in all the pores and occluded her pores.
Oh, no.
Was creating all this problem. Did I get that basically right, Bob?
You got it exactly right. On top of that, she then used a really expensive serum. And guess what happens when you put wax on your face and you try to put a serum on?
None of the serum gets in.
There's no bioavailability.
Right.
So she was totally disappointed.
Right. So she's using Cetaphil to clean her face with wax, and then she's putting La Mer or something like that on there to just sit and coat.
Further waste her money.
That's exactly right. Okay.
Yeah.
Another kind of myth component to facial cleansing: the more you wash your face, the better. Is that right, Bob?
That is myth number two.
Okay.
The more you wash your face, the more degraded your barrier function becomes. Don't overwash your face twice a day.
Twice a day is enough.
Yep.
Given normal circumstances. I can see.
Given normal circumstances. A lot of people midday will go to the gym, that kind of thing. You have to do what you have to do. But what I would really advise you don't do when you go to the gym is use a wipe vehicle to clean your face. Wipes are the worst thing you can do. They contain wax. And the reason they contain wax is that's the cleanser that's in there. So you're basically smearing the sweat and oil all over your face. So do not cleanse with a wipe.
And you're like locking it in.
Wipe means
Exactly.
W-I-P-E, wipe.
Yeah.
Not white.
That's correct.
Okay, what about it's important to wash your face with hot water?
Same thing. The more hot the water, the less appropriate it is for the barrier function, because you're stripping the lipids which are in the surface of the barrier, and you're degrading that barrier function. Same principle.
Okay, another one. How about washing your face after sunscreen? A lot of people come in and they get bumps under the skin or acne with sunscreen. What's your best recommendation on cleansing the sunscreen off your face?
Frankly, if you don't have sensitive skin, you use an AHA cleanser. AHAs will dissolve most SPF now. I'm sure you guys know about SPF. Most of them are going to the physical SPFs, the zinc oxide and the titanium dioxide, because of some toxicology concerns.
Right.
Those can be pulled off with an AHA.
And that's alpha hydroxy alpha, right? The AHA?
Right. Alpha hydroxy acids or glycolic acid is the most prevalent one.
Right.
Yes.
And so, this does bring up kind of an interesting point, because as far as sunscreens go, there are kind of two types, right? And I'm not going to categorize them. Well, maybe you can talk about it a little bit. One is kind of that barrier zinc oxide, and the other one's kind of gets absorbed by your skin and does it. What are the pros and cons, and what do you recommend for people, especially out in Las Vegas? Jeez.
Yeah, it's a great question.
No clothes out there, really tiny bikinis. Been out there.
It's a good question.
I'm surprised you don't live there.
I have to wear my 3-inch inseam.
Thong?
No, I don't wear a man thong. My 3-inch inseam European cut swimwear when I'm out there.
No.
Yeah, right? I mean, I got tattoos people aren't supposed to know about that are showing up. You know what I mean?
Welcome to Bahamas. Have a nice day.
Welcome to Jamaica.
This imaging is not going through my head right now.
Well, once upon a time, Bob, it looked good for both of us. Once upon a time, we were good-looking guys, but maybe not now. Okay, so tell us about sunscreens and all that kind of stuff.
Really quickly, there's two broad classes of sunscreen. The inorganics, which means physical sunscreens, which are titanium dioxide and zinc oxide. The others are organic or chemical sunscreens. Most of the industry is trending towards physical sunscreen because of a variety of issues. Recently, a couple of the organics were cited as degrading reefs in Australia, having toxicological effects. So most people are migrating to zinc and titanium. Titanium and zinc, which the physical ones reflect light. The organic ones absorb light and heat. I definitely recommend the physical sunscreens. We sell, physical sunscreens. A lot of people do. You don't need more. And if you're in a regular environment like Charlotte, you don't need any more than an SPF 30 of 40. If you're really sensitized to sun 50 max, don't do the SPF 100s. It's not worth the amount of solids going on your face.
Okay, and quickly, and I know that you guys obviously, we plug Skinprint's products because they're fantastic, but people ask about copper tones because that's the one you see at Target and all these things. I mean, is that just wasteful? Look, go to an office that has good sunscreens and use the ones that have been studied and are better than those copper tone products and stuff, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Not only that, the advice you get from a medical facility, they're taking into account all of your skin issues, just not barrier function.
Right.
There's pH, there's microbiome, there's surgery that's upcoming.
Sure.
All of that plays a part to properly recommending sunscreen. Absolutely.
So, Bob, some of my, dumb guy friends are going to go, I'm not putting that physical sunscreen on. It makes your face all white. You're going to walk around with a white face? Tell them about the improvements in technology on physical barriers.
Yeah, it's true. So the white product ends up to be transparent on your skin. The technology has evolved dramatically. So you literally can have an opaque white lotion on your fingertips. When you put it on your face, it literally will disappear. And that has to do with the size of the particle, actually coated with some organic compounds, which literally make them disappear to your eye. They're very, very good now.
So no more the zinc oxide stick that you just roll down your nose when you were a lifeguard, right?
if you want to look cool, do that.
Well, that's what we want, Bob.
Raising strength.
That's what we need.
So now when you use these physical blockers, sound like you said the AHAs will take that off. What about exfoliating for those? Or you certainly don't expect to exfoliate every day. Another one of those myths that you should exfoliate every day.
No, you shouldn't exfoliate every day. Definitely not, because that, again, goes directly to barrier function degradation. So don't exfoliate every day. 2 to 3 times a week is typical. I prefer enzymatic exfoliation. It's much more gentle as opposed to exfoliating with beads or particles.
Like a grit, like a gritty, sandy kind of thing.
Apricot scrub.
Yeah.
So St. Ives, right? Everybody knows the St. Ives apricot scrub. Do not do that. You're going to dull your face because it microabrades your skin. Don't do that.
Hey, can I ask you a question while I'm thinking about it? I've got a friend who lives in Atlanta. His wife is uber pretty, always has been, beautiful skin, all this kind of stuff. You know, we've known her since college. But like somehow it got let out at dinner one time that she shaves her like face and like, I think arms even, all that kind of like shaves daily. Like to get peach fuzz out, to kind of get dead cells off, to do that kind of thing. What's your thought on that? Very
effective. And the old myth is when you do that, it's called vellus hair removal. It's a very fine hair on women's faces. Yes. It's basically, if they had more testosterone, it'd be a man's beard.
Right.
But vellus hair should be removed because you're removing the vellus hair and the top 3 or 4 layers just very lightly if your team is really skilled at it. And you're exfoliating very gently but very effectively, and your skin comes out beautifully smooth. So I recommend it. But I got to tell you guys, it's a big secret among women. And you get in a room one-on-one, you're doing a consult with them, and they whisper to you, is it okay that I shave? And so then we have this conversation, right? And so for anybody you really, for microblading, which is an advanced technique, you have to do that with medical estheticians. Do not go into a regular spa. You can get cut and have all kinds of issues for infection and that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a great technique. You need to only do it once a month, and it's very effective.
Awesome. All right, myth number 3. Skin is either dry, oily, or a combination. You don't need to moisturize if you have oily skin.
So this is the one that makes me absolutely crazy. Most uneducated estheticians, which you do not have.
Right. They've got like 150 years between the 3 of them. No, I'm just kidding.
Seriously, right?
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Really, but really smart people too, your guys. But if you go into a Macy's or a Sephora, you hear the sales girl walk up and go, well, do you have dry, oily, or combination? So there is no such thing. It's a false choice. Every single human has combination skin.
Right.
And what that simply means is oil is from sebaceous glands, oil glands. Hydration comes from trapped moisture in your skin. And the combination of the both is exactly that. Here's where it gets tricky, though. If you have unskilled people and you're trying to determine dry, oily, or combination, the problem becomes as we age, particularly in women, over 40-ish or 45-ish, the oil level comes down in their skin pretty rapidly. And so they can be fully moisturized with the best moisturizer by your estheticians and still claim that they feel dry. It really isn't that they feel dry. They have a lack of oil. So putting a sebum substitute on those patients is really important. And you literally do that through a particular method. But when somebody who's 40 and up says, I have really dry skin and I can't get rid of it, it's what they're trying to tell you is, I don't have any more oil. They just don't know that.
Huh. Interesting. All right.
And so, Bob, do your products enhance oil production, or do your products supplement their oils, or what's your strategy?
We have two products in our moisturizer range, which have an ingredient called caprylic triglyceride that mimics sebum. And we put it in at such a level that when they put it on their face, they feel not only hydrated, but their oil is saturated and they have the most calm experience ever.
Excellent.
That's awesome. All right, next myth, Dr. Graper.
My face is red, peeling. It means my products are really working. I ought to double them up.
Well, you approached this in your earlier comment, Bob. Do you remember the day we would go down south, Texas, California, that area? You'd walk into a plastic surgeon or dermatologist office, and everybody in the office would be sitting there bright red and peeling. Do you remember those days?
I remember my wife looking that way. Because if a little's good, a lot more is better.
It's bigger in Texas.
Yeah, we were from Texas.
That's right, Dallas.
So I used to walk in there, and then, these big derm practices, and I would oh, geez, how do I tell these guys what's going on? And it was very difficult, but essentially, you do not need to harm your skin, make it unhealthy. If it's red and peeling, if it's intentional, because you can apply a peel or you can use a laser in a transition mode to expect peeling and redness. But if it's doing it on its own from skincare applied products, you have the wrong products, period.
Awesome. Okay.
Now, let me just go back on one thing, Garrett, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
There's one thing that I wanted to talk about with myth one, and we see a lot more of this going on. I fly a lot, and so you guys, I think, know that.
Yep.
And I constantly see men and women having these water sprayers. They fill it up with water, and they spritz their face 3 or 4 times on a 8-hour flight. That actually dehydrates your skin. Don't use a mister on your skin. The mechanism is really simple. If you apply water to your skin, what does it naturally do? It evaporates rapidly. When it evaporates, it's pulling moisture out of the top of your skin. Don't use a mister to hydrate.
That's like, I remember I was involved when I was younger in a pretty celebrated tennis match once, and it was uber hot outside, and I decided to put water all over my head, and they were like, that's stupid, man. That's just going to overheat you even more, because now you're going to dehydrate quicker. And I was like, oh man. So see, the things you learn when you're a teenager in a big tennis match. So myth 5, wrinkles can be removed overnight by creams and serums.
We know that's false, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. I hope so. Everybody's saying that.
No magic cream.
Yeah. And, the rest of this myth, it's really a 360 approach, which your practice does. You have physicians on staff. You have estheticians on staff. You have expert consultation people on staff, patient coordinators. Every great practice has a 360 approach. From a basic facial to microdermabrasion to IPL to a more ablative procedures like laser systems, injections. And the best thing you can do is go to a practice who can give you an annual, broken by quarter, depending on what you guys do, advice on how to maintain that. And when you need it, surgery. And so it's critically important when you're dealing with any of these issues of, the 7 signs of aging, dark spots, dryness, tone, texture, wrinkles. Anytime you're looking at that, you have to go to a facility that can diagnose these and then approach them on a regular basis. You can't believe the result you can get
and
doing that.
Manage them all. Manage them all. You go to some places, they don't have the ability to manage all of these issues. So it's just like people say, when you're a hammer, everything's a nail, right? But I mean, if you've got the whole toolbox, you can take care of anything.
We can take care of our screws. We can take care of staples.
Yeah.
We got everything.
Sure, you can do whatever you want. Yeah.
But you guys are a little humble. There is nothing like having a physician on staff. I will tell you. There are, if you're in Arkansas, Oklahoma, anybody can buy a laser
and
shoot it.
It's wild.
And it's just, the level of training you guys bring and the ability to do this 360 approach is great. You guys do it well.
All right, Bob, I got two things. I think they're both important. Sunscreen, not important on cloudy days. Tell me about that.
No,
What's your thought?
Yeah. UV rays go straight through clouds, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, the other thing that Garrett and I talk about is that, the UVB is the tanning rays, but the UVA are the aging rays. So unless you've got UVA and B protection, most modern sunscreens, I know your products all have that, but most have that now, don't they?
They do. UVA, B, and C are now incorporated in most products, sunscreen products across.
Yeah.
Yep.
So even if people think, number one, it's cloudy, I don't need them. Yes, you do. And I'm not getting a tan, so I guess it must be working. Well, if you're not blocking the UVA, you're getting the aging rays, and so that's not a good thing either.
Absolutely.
Then, one time you described to me, your products do cost more than what you get at Walmart. Tell everybody why those products are less expensive and why yours are more expensive and worth that cost.
Well, frankly, almost all of our business is done with surgeons, with doctors in process. And the best effect you can have with our products is the ability for experts to work with you in their practice. And when you apply something like a peptide, we are going to launch in about a month a brand new knock your socks off technology. It's called NMN. And it's somewhat technical. It's nicotinamide mononucleotide.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And we are going to revolutionize this industry. Was that, Garrett?
I was going to say that. I mean, when you said I was like nicotinamide. I was like trying to form it in my head, but
so most people say vitamin B3, but it's not.
Right. When's that coming out, Bob? When's this product going to be out?
It'll start rolling out in about 2 weeks, and I plan to be down by you in, I think, a month, right?
Hopefully.
Something like that.
We got to get dinner on the books.
What's that going to do? What can we start telling patients about?
So you do better than I'm about to do. So translate it for me. So skin aging starts in the cellular level, right? So you have great young skin. All kinds of things happen to young skin, as you guys pointed out, as we age, right? Environmental factors, genetics cause degradation in cells. And the primary issue in the cell is one of available energy. Well, NMN technology boosts a chemical called NAD+, which is the energy source in each cell. And that energy source pushes something called ATP, which generates
Krebs cycle.
Krebs
cycle. We're looking at each other right now, mouthing it to each other.
Mitochondria.
We got it, baby. Yeah. Mitochondria. Oxidative phosphorylation. What's up? Ooh. Boom.
All right.
36 ATPs, Bob. 36 ATPs.
I'm talking to the right guys.
Man,
so now you can
nerd alert.
It. So beautiful. So actually, just an aside, Dr. Graper explained to me the location of pectoral muscles when I was there last time, which was a revelation for me. So anyway.
Yeah, we know anatomy.
Had his shirt off was amazing.
Oh, it's great. So great.
But anyway, this technology supercharges cells in your body, and they reverse the signs of aging. And I don't know if you guys are aware of the word exosomes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, exosomes are packets that cells release in certain types of cell communication. Well, once you use the NMN to, build cell energy, NAD+ to the ATP, guess what happens? Exosome content increases by 100-fold.
Whoa.
When you have exosomes coming out of a fibroblast molecule or a collagen and elastin molecule, and it's communicating at 100 times speed, guess what happens?
Good thing.
Usefulness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to come down.
I look like 25-year-old
speak to you
Garrett.
guys now that you know what it is. That's great.
Well, Bob, we got to thank you. I mean, you are, first of all, a great friend, a great asset to the practice. Next time you come in town, we ought to put something online to where people can come and just hear you talk, because 40 minutes is not long enough. You have so much information, so much passion for what you do, and such a great skincare line.
Expertise.
We didn't even get to talk about the pet care line. That's next time. But Absolutely. I can tell you that Kristen loves it. So thank you for that, that present and that gift. And thank you for your time, Bob. You are truly exceptional at what you do, and we appreciate you joining us and educating our patients and listeners out there on some of the myths, because people...
There's more everyday information in this podcast than maybe any other one we've done.
I agree. I think this has been a great podcast. Bob, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob.
I really appreciate it. If you've got questions or topics you'd like for us to cover, please visit ghsurgery.com. Click on the Doc Dudes from that homepage. There's a link to click to submit your questions and ideas. You can also listen to all of the Doc Dude episodes on our website, as well as Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast, which hopefully is us. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, find out when new episodes drop, and other information about our practice. I am Garrett Harper.
I'm Graper.
And we are signing out.
You, Bob.
Thank you, Bob Manzo.
Thank you. Take care.